I've lived here since 5 years. I've lived here for 2018. Which one is correct? Neither. Both are wrong. And 99% of English learners make one of these mistakes. Maybe you're making them right now, and you don't even know it. But here's the good news. In the next 15 minutes, you're getting 50 real chunks that Americans use every single day. Not grammar rules, not textbook examples. Real chunks. By the end, you'll never confuse for and since again, and you'll sound like you've been speaking English for years. Let's fix this, starting now. Okay, let's talk about why this is so hard. You study the rule for equals duration, since equals starting point. You understand it. But when you speak, your brain freezes. Why? Because you're trying to translate. Your brain thinks in your language first. Then it searches for the English rule. Then it tries to apply the rule. Then maybe you speak. That's 3 steps. And by the time you finish thinking, the conversation is over. Americans don't do this. They don't think, duration or starting point. They just say the chunk automatically. I've been here for 3 years. I've known her since Monday. One thought, one chunk. Done. That's what we're learning today. Not rules, chunks. Let me show you how this works. Here's a timeline. Today is here. 3 years ago, you moved to this city. That's the starting point. Since 2022. But you can also say the duration, the time between, for 3 years. Same situation. 2 different chunks. I've lived here since 2022. I've lived here for 3 years. Both correct, both natural. Now here's the trick. Americans choose based on what feels easier to say. If they remember the year, they say since. If they think about the time past, they say for. It's not about rules, it's about what comes to mind first. And that's why learning chunks is so powerful. Okay, ready for the 50 chunks. We're doing this in categories. After every 10 chunks, you repeat with me. This is shadowing practice. Listen, then repeat. Let's go. Category 1. Time duration chunks. These use for. You're talking about how long. For 3 years. Repeat. For 3 years. For a long time. Repeat. For a long time. For a few months. Repeat. For a few months. For ages. Repeat. For ages. For a while now. Repeat. For a while now. For the past week. Repeat. For the past week. For several days. Repeat. For several days, for about an hour. Repeat. For about an hour. For quite some time. Repeat. For quite some time. For the last 2 years. Repeat. For the last 2 years. Perfect. 10 chunks down. Notice. All of these answer the question, how long? That's for Category 2. Starting point chunks. These use since. You're talking about when it started. Since Monday. Repeat. Since Monday. Since last week. Repeat. Since last week. Since 2020. Repeat. Since 2020. Since this morning. Repeat. Since this morning. Since I was a kid. Repeat. Since I was a kid. Since we met. Repeat. Since we met. Since the beginning. Repeat. Since the beginning. Since last year. Repeat. Since last year. Since yesterday. Repeat. Since yesterday. Since I moved here. Repeat. Since I moved here. Excellent. 20 chunks total. See the pattern? Since always has a specific moment. Monday, 2020. This morning, a point in time. Category 3. Life experience chunks with 4. I've known him for years. Repeat. I've known him for years. I've been working here for 6 months. Repeat. I've been working here for 6 months. We've been friends for a long time. Repeat. We've been friends for a long time. I've been studying English for 2 years. Repeat. I've been studying English for 2 years. She's been living there for a while. Repeat. She's been living there and for a while. They've been together for ages. Repeat. They've been together for ages. I've been waiting for 20 minutes. Repeat. I've been waiting for 20 minutes. He's been sick for a few days. Repeat. He's been sick for a few days. We've been talking for hours. Repeat. We've been talking for hours. I've been trying for weeks. Repeat. I've been trying for weeks. 30 chunks. You're crushing this. Feel how natural these are starting to sound? Category 4. Life experience chunks with since. I've known him since high school. Repeat. I've known him since high school. I've been working here since January. Repeat. I've been working here since January. We've been friends since college. Repeat. We've been friends since college. I've been studying English since last year. Repeat. I've been studying English since last year. She's been living there since 2019. Repeat. She's been living there since 2019. They've been together since Valentine's Day. Repeat. They've been together since Valentine's Day. I've been waiting since 3 o'clock. Repeat. I've been waiting since 3 o'clock. He's been sick since Monday. Repeat. He's been sick since Monday. We've been talking since this morning. Repeat. We've been talking since this morning. I've been trying since last month. Repeat. I've been trying since last month. 40 chunks done. Only 10 more. And I want you to notice something. Your brain is getting used to these patterns. For with how long, since with when. Category 5. Conversation chunks. These are the ones Americans say all the time. How long have you been here? For about a year. Repeat. For about a year. Since when? Since last Tuesday. Repeat. Since last Tuesday. I've been here for a while. Repeat. I've been here for a while. Not since last week. Repeat. Not since last week. For as long as I can remember. Repeat. For as long as I can remember. Since the last time we talked. Repeat. Since the last time we talked. For the time being. Repeat. For the time being. Since forever. Repeat. Since forever. For now. Repeat. For now. Since day one. Repeat. Since day one. 50 chunks. You did it. You just learned. 50 real American English chunks. With for and since. Now here's what happens next. Your brain needs to use these chunks, not just hear them, use them. So here's your challenge. Today, use 5 chunks. Just 5. Pick the 5 that feel easiest. Use them in a message, with a friend, or even talk to yourself. Say them out loud 5 times. Tomorrow, 5 more chunks. Do this for 10 days. That's 50 chunks. All of them. And I promise you, you will never confuse for instance again, because you won't be thinking about grammar rules. You'll be thinking in chunks, like Americans do. Remember, Americans don't say, is this a duration or a starting point? They just say, I've been here for 3 years. Automatic, natural, easy, and now you can do the same. Stop learning grammar, start chunking. That's how you master English. Thanks for practicing with me today. If you want more chunking lessons, subscribe to English Flow. I'll see you in the next one.